So here's what we're going to do today. We don't have like a big agenda on this. Just kind of go through Google Plus and start talking through what people are doing with it. I'll try and show you all of the different items and whatnot that you can do with Google Plus. But it's really more conversation based than just a one-way lecture. So feel free to just jump in and yell when you have a question. I'm assuming, since you guys are all here, that everyone has been able to at least get their Google Plus account set up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, which is one of the features of Google Plus, in addition to this Hangout. All right. And there you should be able to see my Google Plus stream. Okay, so I see that Gene's saying that the Hangout is locked and some can't see it. We're going to click that. I'm going to go ahead and just mute you guys because I can still hear that feedback coming through on me. So you may have to unmute yourself after we get going a little bit. All right. All right, Gene, if you're there in the background, just try it now. I've changed the broadcast setting. All right, that sounds a little bit quieter. Is anyone else getting feedback still? No? Okay, good. All right, so let's jump into Google Plus. I think everybody has noticed that the main navigation for Google Plus happens from the upper left-hand corner of your Google menu. So typically most of us are in email throughout the day, and there's an easy navigation button to get to Google Plus in the upper left hand where it's your name with a plus sign in front of it. That's how you get to Google Plus. Okay, once you get there, the thing that you're first presented with is what's called your stream, and it's represented by this icon that's a home button. And what your stream is it's the list of all of the people that you have put into your circles, plus maybe some additional people that Google is suggesting for you in their posts, information that they're trying to share with others. I think first what we'll do is we'll kind of go through the navigation just to touch on a lot of different things, and then we'll talk about some of the different features and functions. Okay, so if we'll start on the right-hand side of this bar, the menu bar, and we'll go to the left. The right-hand side here, the icon that looks like 4 colors around a circle, is called Games. I can't tell you anything about this because I've never used it. Basically, it's a feature like Facebook, if you're familiar with Facebook, where people can play games with one another, and those kind of go on asynchronously as well as synchronously. You can do them both ways, depending on what the different game is. But that's really as much as I know. Anybody else a big games user? Have anything to say about it? I see a lot of heads shaking. Circles. Circles is really where the power of Google Plus starts. So what circles are is they're really a way for each individual to set up groups of people and organize their contacts. So with Facebook, we have what we call friends. So you're a friend on Facebook. With Google Plus, you can put people into circles. And the culture of Google Plus seems to be a little bit different than Facebook, in that on Facebook, kind of the default culture is only to be friends with people that you know. On Google Plus, that's not as true. On Google Plus, what you're doing is you're sharing topical ideas as well as personal ideas. And I think what you'll see more as Google Plus continues to mature is you'll see them trying to filter conversations around topics as well as conversations about individual or from individual people. So you can see here a little bit how I have my circles organized. Basically, Google will give you a few default circles. I think they're called friends, family, and then there are a couple of other ones. I don't remember exactly what they are. But you can create an additional circle just by putting your mouse over the circle, and you can see it changes to the term create circle when you do that. And then I have circles for ATSU employees. I have one that I call education thinkers and reformers. And you can see I have a lot of people that I follow there, so I get a lot of good information, and we'll go through that. I have one that's just universities, and so there are over 268 pages or just university IDs that I can take a look at to see how other people are using this tool within the education world. One for just Google employees, and you can set these up any way that you want. Okay, so I'm getting some messages about only a limit of 10 people. There's not really a limit with this, but you have to go into the Google Plus Hangout itself. So let me see if I can show you a little bit on that. If I go back to my profile, you can see that there's this Hangout on Air button. If you just click on this, then you'll actually see me through YouTube as opposed to in Google+. Or you'll see the session on YouTube as opposed to Google+. So that's just being tested right now. So I see if people drop off, if you drop off, you can drop off and see it that way as well as being directly in the session. If you clicked on the Join This Hangout button, which is down here, that's when, if there's room, it will put you right in the screen roll below. So two different ways that you can kind of access this session. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the circles and talk a little bit more about that. The way the circles navigation works is you have your circles, which I was just kind of describing. Then you have a button that allows you to see who has you in circles. So these are people that are following me, and these are the people that are following me that are not yet in my circles. So you'll see here, the majority of these people are people that I have no idea who they are. But what they're doing is they're following posts that I make, typically because they are associated with education, and most of what I post is related to education. So where the culture in Facebook is only people that you know, the culture here in Google Plus is a lot more like Twitter, where you're following people based on topical conversations. And what's nice about Google Plus as opposed to Twitter is the conversations can be a little bit more lengthy than the 140 or 160 characters. And then the last option that you have in the menu is to find people. And if you're just getting started in Google+, this is a good place to go. It will make some suggestions for you based on what types of topics you're interested in and whatnot. And it'll try to get you up to, I think, a minimum of like 10 people. Once you get 10 people in your circles, then you start to get more information that's going through your stream. And then you'll see when we get back over to that part, it makes it a lot more rich experience. So hopefully, just kind of nod your head if that makes sense. All right, good, thanks. Okay, so that's circles, and I would say circles is the best place to just start. Just start by dragging a few people into circles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you here how to share a circle. So let's say ATSU employees, since most of us here are targeting ATSU, and this is a public broadcast, so there may be some people who are not ATSU in here as well. But if I click on this circle, I can then click on Share this circle. And so what I'll do is, here are people within ATSU who are using Google+. Okay, and if you've followed me, then you will see this pop up in your stream, and then you'll be able to use this circle. So I'm going to send this to everyone within AT Still University. You see how I share that? And I can choose who I'm going to share with. We'll do that a little bit more when we get into the stream. Okay, so there's your first little tidbit for today. If you don't have a circle with all ATSU people, you now have one with about 200 people in it. Okay. So now we're going to go into the third option here, moving from right to left, is your profile. And if you haven't set up your profile, that would be the second thing I would suggest to do. So the first thing is to set up your circles. Second thing would be to set up your profile. Now, the thing that's nice about a Google profile is you have control over who can see what information. So the way that the profile works is you have options for 4 different items. It, of course, lists all of your posts, but really your profile section should be about you. And so if you click on the About button, what you'll see here is you have options for putting a little introduction, employment information, lots of different things that you can add about yourself to let other people know what interests you may have. And what's nice about this is if I click on the Edit Profile, you can see that it changes the look just a little bit. I can now change my photo if I want to. And I can click on any one of these little sections, and here's how I change it. What's nice, though, is it gives me options over who can see this information. Okay? So if I go to the introduction and I only want to show the introduction to people within my circles, I can click that option. Or let's say that I only want to show my introduction with people within ATSU, I can do that. I tend to be pretty public, so I'm just going to leave it on public and click Save. Okay. And that works pretty much the same with all of the different sections. So if I click on a section, you can see I get the options for whatever sharing I want to use, custom sharing. Okay. There are a couple of them that are a little bit different. So I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and I want to highlight this profile discovery. If I click on this section, I can click on this checkbox, and that allows me to, if I uncheck it, then what will happen is my profile is not indexed for search results. So it makes me a little bit more difficult to find. So if there are some privacy concerns that you have, this would be an option to check. Again, I think it's important for people to be as public as possible, and I stress as possible, then keep that button checked. One other section that's a little bit different is this section over here to the left, where it shows other people looking at your profile who is in your circles, or who is in my case, all circles, or I can choose what circles I want people to show up as. So if I don't want to show any ATSU people, I would uncheck that, and it would only show people in all of my other circles. Make sense? Okay. And then if I go below that, who can see this? I, again, make mine open to the public or visible to the public, but you could also limit it to just your circles. And then down at the bottom, you can there's a menu option or a checkbox option that basically toggles off whether you show people who have added you to circles. So if I uncheck that and save, you'll see that second group of boxes goes away. Okay. I'm going to leave it on for myself. Okay. So that's the profile. And again, I'd suggest if you haven't set up a profile, set it up. Some hints are to add information that's going to tell people about the types of content that you're interested in. So I've seen some people who actually put bullet points in here about if I'm interested in jazz music, then I would put jazz music and add me to circles related to jazz. Okay. All right. Any questions? Feel free to just jump in here. And I'll open the chat too so that you guys can enter questions in the chat as well. And then Gene or someone else, if you would kind of monitor the chat that's going on the website, that would be great. Or on the Google Plus stream, that would be great.
Sure, I'll watch it.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. This is not related to what you're talking about right now, but and I think you said something before I came on, but I would really like to have a meeting with more than whatever this holds. I think it's like 9 or 10. Is that just not possible to be able to have that many on this thing like we are right here? I mean, I understand that they can watch via YouTube, you know, while this is going on, like I was just doing a second ago. But like if I wanted 14 faculty member, have a meeting, I would not be able to do that with everybody showing up on this screen. Is that correct?
That's correct. Today, the number of video participants is limited in this, I think, to 9 participants.
Okay.
So they can participate in the sense that they can see you and hear everything that's going on in the session, but there's really not a good method for you to be able to see how many people are also watching. So, I mean, I can see, obviously, the people that are in the session here, but I don't know how many people are watching outside of here.
Right. Okay. All right. And so if you enable this YouTube thing, then anybody could be watching.
That's correct. That's the way that it works today. As I watch some of the Google discussions that are going on, I'm sure that they're thinking about ways to get more people into a session.
Yeah.
They may not all be within the video windows, but they'll at least be an icon or something that will show that they're there participating. So I don't know if you guys can see, it didn't show up on the window, but Dr. Wendell just instant messaged me, so I know that he's watching, although he's not in the session here. And I would anticipate there are lots of others. So there are some workarounds that you can do with things like instant messaging and chat sessions, but today it's not very integrated.
Okay, so it's good for this kind of thing that you're doing where you're presenting information, but maybe not so good where it's basically a meeting.
Correct. For a big meeting, this would not be the right tool. And for
Right.
that, from an ATSU standpoint, we have a tool called Blackboard Collaborate. And that would be the tool that would make more sense.
And that's what I moved to yesterday once I figured out this doesn't hold more than 10. The only downfall is you don't get to see everybody. And to me, especially being the online kind of program that we are, it's really nice to have that human element of everybody being there and being able to talk and that kind of thing.
Yeah, when I've talked to some of the Google people about it, it's kind of an arbitrary decision for the number of video ports that they have. And 10, I think, is kind of the magic number just because it felt right for people. If you have more than 10 people in a meeting, it tends to be difficult to know what's going on when who's talking. So I think it was just an arbitrary decision that they made it 10.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brian?
Yeah.
We have used this format with the University Student Association meetings, students from Arizona and from Missouri meeting. And since there's more than 10 people, often what they've done is they'll gather in a room together and share the camera. So you can actually have more than 10 really in it. It just can't be individuals.
That's a good idea.
It worked really well.
Sure. Anyone else have other ideas? There are some blog posts out there about how to connect multiple sessions together. I wouldn't recommend that. One, it gets a little bit techy, and it's very clunky. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. But I think over time you'll see the ability to have more than just the 10 participants. All right, anything else on profiles? I know that we have a lot of people from ATSU who have at least initiated Google+, but they haven't added a picture, or at the minimum, they've only added a picture and they haven't put anything additional on there. Good. So
well, I have a question. Like, I really kind of shy away myself from, I don't do Facebook, I don't do all this stuff, and this has kind of forced me into this whole social networking thing, and so now I've got like all these friends finding me, they Google me, and there I am, because of this. And so that's okay, I guess, but that's it. I mean, once I put my picture up there and I'm on Google+, there's no way to just make that restricted to who I want, certain people, like just having to do with work.
It's what I just showed on the profile. So
okay, yeah, I got it late. Sorry.
Yep, so for each profile item, you can choose who gets to see it.
Oh, all right.
Yep. So for ATSU, it's nice to have an option that just ATSU people can see what you post.
Oh, okay, so even your profile picture, you can make accessible only to the people you've added to.
B. There, he's back.
Okay, so we could actually, in this session, have 9 additional video, but also people could call in too, and we wouldn't be able to see them, but they could still participate verbally. And stuff. Okay.
Okay, and is that obvious? I don't know how somebody would do that. There's a way to do that? I mean, call in via what? Just voice, like, what is it, a phone number that they call in? I don't understand that.
That's correct. There's an option on, and we need to kind of go back and talk about the different types of Hangouts. So today there are really 3 different types of Hangouts. There's the regular Hangout, where if you just click on your stream and you say Start Hangout, I'm going to try this. If I lose you again, don't worry, I'll come back. If you see this screen, then you can see that it adds your circles. And then there are 2 other types. Sorry, it's not going to let me show that to you because we're already in a Hangout. So just let me know, are you guys still hearing me? Okay, good. But there are 3 types. The first one is just a regular Hangout. The second one is called Hangouts with Extras, and that one gives you some additional features for chat. At one point, the screen share was only available in Hangouts with Extras. You can share documents in Hangouts with Extras. And then the third type is this one, which is called On Air, which is really more for broadcasting through YouTube for more than just the 10 people. So the one that has the ability to call in, I believe, is Hangouts with Extras. And the way that it works is there's an option in the upper left-hand corner, I believe, where you click the invite and you invite by phone, and then I think you have to dial their phone number. Make sense?
Yes.
And we'll try and do some screenshots where we can see that too. That would be a good idea. I should have had that for this one. All right, so that's a little bit about profiles. So we've seen circles, so you know how to add people to your circles. We've seen profiles and what you can do there. Let's look at photos real quick. Google Plus is a nice tool for sharing photos. And what it does here is it gives you options on how you can view photos. So I can view photos from my circles. So these are pictures that people have posted or taken who are in my circles. So because I have a lot of people in my circles, you can see all kinds of different posts that have come up here. You can also view photos from your phone. So I have my mobile phone, which is an Android device, connected to my Google Plus account. Whenever I take a picture with my mobile phone, it automatically loads up to my Google Plus account, which is really nice. So I've tried to put mostly pictures from ATSU type functions. So this is some pictures of our dental simulation clinic that I took with my phone. You can click on an option for photos of you. These are when people tag you in a photo, and we'll go through that in a little bit. Then they will show up here. Photos from your posts are available. And so it comes up with the date of the post. And you can see that I use it for not only photos, but also for graphics that you may want to post. So for example, in this case, I posted something, an event at the Thompson Campus Center for an event that we had. And then the last one is just your albums. So this is how you organize all of your photos. And this one I tend to do more by date, month and day. So lots of options for photos. If we go into a photo here, and we'll go into an album, you can see here that if I click on a person, like in this case it's Dean Mogg, and I've tagged him, what will happen then is once I tag this person, it will show up in his Google Plus stream, and it will let him know that he's been tagged in a photo. So it's great. If you set it up where you allow people to tag you, then you'll know of pictures that someone else posts that you are in, which is really nice. Anything else on photos? There are a lot of photographers who are really using Google Plus extensively. You had someone have something?
I do. So you said when you take it on your phone, it automatically puts it to Google Plus, but you've set your privacy settings. So I guess.
Good question. So when it goes to my phone, or goes from my phone to my Google Plus account, it shows up only here in photos from my phone. At this point, then, I would have to share a picture with someone else in order for them to be able to see it. So the default privacy is just for me. All right. Let's get to the heart of Google Plus, which is the stream. Okay. So the stream is the place where all of the people that you have in circles, their posts are shown. And so you can see it looks a lot like Facebook, where you just scroll down through the stream and see comments from people. But what's nice about this is now that you have your circles set up, you can segment that stream to certain groups. So all of my circles are here. If I want to see only posts that are related to ATSU, I'll click on my ATSU employees circle, and at this point now I only see items related to ATSU. And so you can see there are some good discussions that are starting to happen here, where people are posting articles to talk about. SHM has done a great job at introducing some of their faculty and staff, so they're using it in that sense. Kelly Rogers, our photographer, has posted a lot of photos so that people know what's going on throughout the university. We have a couple of what's called pages set up. We have one for ITS. So one of the advantages of this is to try and limit the amount of spam that we're sending to your in-basket in your email, and instead sending it to Google Plus, or in addition sending it to Google Plus, so that you can come back and look at it at any time. And it's not something that's time sensitive or urgent. It just may be something that is of interest to people. So things like events, those types of things are great for the Google Plus stream. And then having conversations around different topics. So here's an article that was originally posted on how leaders lose their luck. It's a Harvard Business Review article. And then in some cases you'll see comments on these different topics. So that's really the advantage of streams. I mentioned that I had one that was called education. So another advantage of using something like Google Plus is you kind of get in the flow of a lot of different topics. If you're a Twitter user, it's very similar to the Twitter mentality of being able to follow a certain segment of people. So in this case, these are education people, and as I scroll through here, you'll see that there are lots of things associated with education type activities. I'll take advantage of the fact that this one's showing up in French. So this post here is in French, and there are plugins that you can use. So now I can just click on this and I translate, and automatically it will show me what this person is saying in English, even though the person originally posted in French. And there are lots of different languages that it will do that for. So that's a real nice feature. And you can see there are just lots of different things associated with different topics. If I click on the universities, same kind of thing. So now I see just how people at different universities are using Google+. Okay. So let me go to this education and thinkers. I showed you before that I was sharing a circle for ATSU. I'll share this one that's education thinkers and reformers as well. This one has a lot of people in it. So if you don't have much in your stream and you like it that way, you don't want to follow this one. But this is one that has a lot of activity. So I'll go ahead and share this circle. And I'll just say education circle. And again, I'll share it with everyone at ATSU. Oops. And I'll include myself in there and share. So there you go. There's another group for you to follow. Okay, so the way that the navigation works here is down the left-hand side, you'll see your circles. If you've had lots of circles like me, then you'll have to use the More button to see all of the different circles. And like I say, you can go into different types of conversations. So this one is just technical conversations. In addition to that, you can use search functionality to create circles. So I have a cell phone or a mobile phone that's an HTC Evo. So I did a search up in the top area here for Google. And let me take something different. I don't know. Let's say baseball. And so I want to see who's talking about baseball. Once I have searched baseball, I can now save this search. And if I click that, it will now show up on this left-hand side, and I can come here just like baseball was a circle. And so now any topic that happens to be about baseball or anything that would show up in a search on baseball, I can now have access to those public posts from people. So like I say, it's a great way to get information about different topics. Okay. Any other questions at this point, or thoughts, or other things you guys want to talk about? Gene, anything going on in that other chat?
No, I think we've got everything taken care of.
All right. We'll talk about a little bit more about this section here. So this section here, people are probably familiar with because it looks very similar to a section that you have on Mail, where it shows contacts who are online at any given time. And you can see, in this case, Melanie must have sent me a question. I'm sorry that I'm not reading these. It's hard for me to concentrate on multiple things. So yeah, the YouTube video is a little fuzzy. That's because I'm sharing my screen. And then you can see another one popped up here. Harvey is asking about, is this from my personal Gmail account or my ATSU Gmail account? This is from my ATSU Gmail account. So everyone within ATSU has this feature, this group of functions, Google+, available to them.
Brian Barb has a question in chat. Will your search for baseball show up to others?
No. No. So that's a good point. Circles and searches are all individual. So in the case of education thinkers, since I just shared that circle with you, I created that circle. So the only people who were in there were available to me. Now that I've shared it with you, it's individual to you. So it's a one-to-one correlation. If I were to add someone new to my education thinkers and reformers group or circle, then you would not see that additional person. Or if you added someone to your education thinkers, or if you changed the name. So it's really at the individual level that exists now. Does that make sense? Not seeing as many nods on that one. Circles are always associated with the individual user. That's probably the easiest way to say it. All right, I'm going to go back here to Melanie's question. Are the photos shared with everyone, or does it just load to your account? Okay, so I think that was the same question that Linda asked. about photos. Okay, so I was talking a little bit about this section down in the lower left here with individuals that are contacts and how you can do instant messaging from within your Google Plus stream. I noticed today what's interesting is when I click on a chat, I can now open a Hangout with an individual person. So if I click on this little, used to be a video icon, it's changed just a little, I can now do a Hangout with an individual just by starting a chat. So that's a new feature, and you'll see that integrated a lot more. I could also start a voice chat where I'm just doing a voice interaction with an individual from within Google Plus. Okay. Hangouts we've talked about. Those are on the right-hand navigation, and you just start a Hangout. Click on that. At that point, you'll be asked, who do you want to invite to the Hangout? And you can invite either individuals or you can invite circles. So if you invite a circle, then everyone who is within that circle will be available for the Hangout. Doesn't mean that they will necessarily participate, but they're available to join. There's another area over here where you can find interesting people. This is, again, organized a little bit more on the topical section. So if you were to click on here, I'll click here just quick, you can see that it gives me options for people associated with entertainment, fashion, food and drink. So you can see how it's not just the personal conversations about what your friends had for breakfast or where they went to dinner last night. You're now getting information in your stream about particular areas of interest. Below that are invitations. You can send invitations to people who are not currently using Google Plus and try and get them involved. Google Plus pages. We'll talk a little bit about that because I think that's an area that's going to grow quite a bit. So a Google Plus page is an organization's representation within Google Plus. So I mentioned a little bit earlier that we had an ITS presence on Google Plus. So I've already created this ATSU Information Technology Services page, and you can see that now my icon changes to my profile. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that the ID or the account associated with it is ATSU. So now if I post something here in the stream, I'm just going to post that I'm enjoying participation Hangout. And when I share this, it shares as the department, ATSU ITS. Okay? So pages are managed by individual people, but they're a Google Plus presence on behalf of an organization. And you can actually start Hangouts on behalf of the organization, and you can send posts on behalf of an organization. Does that make sense? I'm going to go back to myself here. All right, anything else? Questions, thoughts, things I've missed?